All right, what's up, everybody? This has been a follow-up stream. This is a follow-up stream to MGTOW Absolute Knowledge. So this is going to be a follow-up stream because MGTOW fell asleep. So I'm going to try to see if I can get a hold of Amanley and if I can get him in here so we can continue the discussion because it was going in a good direction. And I have the ability to do this. So thank you everybody for joining. This is going to be following up on MGTOW's Absolute Knowledge stream that he did earlier today. So just stay for the wisdom and hopefully you'll get some laughs or something out of it. So just sit tight. We're gonna grab a couple participants for the live stream, and I'm gonna post the link to the server or to the StreamYard so y'all can hop in and give your perspective as well. Just make sure I'm synced up here. Y'all come on in. Ooh, I like this. I like the StreamYard URL. It's nice. It's nice. It looks prettier than any other StreamYard URL that I've ever seen. So I'm about to simp for this URL real quick. And Apostate, if you can get in here, we got some stuff we can laugh and talk about. Cause oh. Yeah, go ahead if you have time. I know you are on Australia time, so doot. Oh, I didn't realize there's multiple time zones in Apostate. that is true because yeah, you have been cast out of the northern manosphere, the northern hemimenace, the northern hemimenace. But yeah, we were talking about the pharaonic bloodlines. I did not know that Beyonce had a direct line to the blood or to like the pharaonic bloodline. That might be why she, can churn out content so aggressively for the system. Because you see a lot of people who are now celebrities who who are very upset that they've been bamboozled, or that there's apprehension and there's resistance when it comes to creating for the satanic, the ritualistic music industry, movie industry, and larger society. So I definitely think that genetics play a huge role into it, and whether or not you've been, oh, what the fuck? Oh. And, I've always been apprehensive because it's like, I want to know if I'm doing a ritual, I want to know if I am doing something. And with my content, I've always been very, like, skeptical of myself. Hold on, I got a guestie. And we have Mega Simp Beta Male Orbiter. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the
Hey guys, what's up, you monks and spunks? Greatest simp ever here. How you guys doing?
the Gasot, the greatest simp of all time. The simp of all time.
So much simping that I give Prince Harry a run for his money.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Shots fired! Oh goddamn! You know what? I think is a wish, a deeply rooted desire of the northern hemisphere is that us southern manispherians can become reintegrated into society, and
Yeah.
and they want us to be the people that practice all the Illuminati rituals and stuff like that.
No, they do. They do. They're trying
They
to,
do.
and here's what I think what's been going on in 2020 as a whole, not just say with like particular bloodlines. We see the movie industry pushing for, you know, like cuties and child beauty pageants and all of that.
Yeah.
And even before with the movie industry, there was like a movie from 2013, I think it was in 2013, where a teacher actually sleeps with her students in the movie, and the student is like a 12-year-old boy. So this is not new.
There's like 3 or 4 movies like that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not new. So like what we see is this push for pedophilia and the social cultural acceptance of it. But I think a lot of this is connected to those rituals in the sense that these practitioners of black magic, it's what it is, basically use children for like sex slaves and whatnot. And there's footage of that's been released, you know, like Demi Moore got caught. There's footage of Demi Moore making out with like a young underage kid, and there's like other footage of these children running away from some kind of underground temple, but they're dressed as like prostitutes. So this is not new.
Well, the whole discarding sexual object culture is definitely, like, it's not new, and we only witness it now. We only witness the full veracity of it because of social media,
and
how people, like women specifically, they can be on social media like, oh, I'm so about loving myself and so independent. Meanwhile, they had gotten themselves into every single codependent relationship for every letter of the alphabet, and they can still be projecting this sort of like false confidence in themselves.
But the scary thing is,
do you respect yourself at the end of the day? But go ahead.
But the scary thing is that baseline rhetoric of everyone and anyone can consent comes from Alfred Kinsey. His research from the mid to late 40s was the basis of this sexual revolution. So all of that rhetoric does go back to Alfred Kinsey.
Yeah. I watched your Mirror of that docu-series on it. It was eye-opening to say the least, because I obviously live in the West. I live in North America. I live in a place where, I mean, granted, it does lean more conservative. However, it's like I see the fallout of the sexual revolution, and other people do too. And it's like when anybody brings up common sense, it's like they're spitting in the face of women's lib, and they're spitting in the face of sexual liberation. And it's like, I don't care what you do when it comes to that part of yourself, but when it comes to how you think, I have a vested interest in that, because we all are in a part of this together. And it's like when it comes to certain sexual things in the West, everybody thinks that they're just entitled to their own little private sexual escapades, when that stuff echoes out into wider society in your actions and in your mentality, your behavior. All of it is connected.
And that part of it will begin normalizing the whole, I guess, whatever these cabals do. Like the whole of society ultimately becomes transformed into this kind of, I guess, if you use the Abrahamic construct, some kind of satanic temple, if you want to use those words, but it's a dark magic temple nonetheless. That sexual perversion transforms all of society into that. And the dangerous thing is that the legalization of pedophilia will prove that, one, the quote unquote powers that be can get away with anything. And then secondly, the young and the vulnerable are not legally protected at all. So they can keep going about their rituals out in the open without any consequence.
well, they're spoken for, but they're never present. It's like the opposite of
Correct.
of real legal, of like what real legal motives should be. So it should be to represent someone who's there, who can't speak for themselves. Whereas children nowadays are pumped with full of knowledge from the outside world, but they're not allowed to speak. And in fact, they get talked down to from a parent who wears a mask, who hides their facial features and their expressions, which is the core of children's learning in early stages. And the parent doesn't even stoop down to their level in order to get them to actually understand where they're coming from. So it's like the parents have become the very thing they hate.
The parents have become the very agents of the Matrix in some regards, I would say, because their thought processes are informed by that media. That media is just like a pre-packaged form of pre-programmed responses that they just reproduce and give to their children. So the quote-unquote NPC are the agent Smiths of the Matrix. And that can be the parents, the doctors, the lawyers, and whatnot. And
I actually, because you just said that, and it made me think of that what Tico's doing in terms of addressing or debunking talking points, especially in regard to the red pill, what we need. Because nobody in the red pill community anymore cleanses their channel of trolls. So they just have like a lot of people who are just waiting for them to mess up. And I think red pill knowledge is really expansive. Like it is the universe. It is like a good metaphor to describe it would be the universe, always expanding, always getting wider and wider with each passing minute. And then you kind of have our earthly philosophy or whatever that I guess just propagates itself, slowly, like step by step, just indoctrinating people and trying to get them to form a structure. So it's like it's the opposite of that, and yet you see that people are still like so aggressive with the way that they push this lifestyle. It's something where if you have red pill knowledge, you kind of drowned out the blue pill stuff, because you just have knowledge that backs up something that's completely against what they're saying. So it's like you can hear them, but you're not necessarily actively listening to what they're saying.
Yeah,
and that's what inspires trolls. That's what inspires trolls, because the trolls can say anything they want in this chat, and that's their biggest limiting factor. Like if that's the one thing that holds them back, is that they have access to this information and it's free. Well, they don't have any way to pay it, to use their fiat currency to actually get something out of it. It's all free at the end of the day.
I was going to say also with trolls as well. Trolls are like, I guess in a way, they're kind of like energy vampires, that they use what's already in front of them to do what they do, to satire and critique. And the irony of a troll is that they teach you your limitations as much as they teach you the limitations of how to go about the philosophy and practice.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like teaching. I'm passionate about teaching, just not teaching that person because it's too much.
Or even self-knowledge too, like how much you can take and how well you respond to particular trolls, because no two trolls are the same. Like a lot of them are similar, but no two trolls are always the same. Especially the really good ones.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could almost go to school to learn how to be a troll, and it's just you don't have to pay any money. You just go to YouTube and you type in red pill or MGTOW, and you get
between going to YouTube, Googling laws, and maybe learning how to hack, you'd be a professional troll within like 3 or 4 years, maybe 5. Easy. And then you can start trolling governments at that point.
Yeah, for sure. I admire people that do that.
Yeah.
That actually get. I mean, and it's all about balance. It's all a balancing act too, because the
Mhm.
bigger you get, the more you have to know how to troll back, because you'll attract more trolls. So it's pretty much, it's like a feedback loop in and of itself.
Yeah. And I think too, what you mentioned with the red pill is that the red pill, to a point, does blend in with like esoteric philosophy, which is where it's a little bit hard and it gets a bit muddled up. Because you said that the red pill is about knowledge of the universe, and then ultimately, if that is truly the scale in which you're looking at the level of knowledge towards everything, that could imply all cultures, all languages, basically everything, all encompassing, from the physical to the metaphysical to the cultural to the social to the political. It's everything. So then the question then lies, if you know something that you can't change, how do you practice that? Do you need to practice that to maintain your virtue? Or do you just accept your biological limits, for example? Like, say, with the black pill, do you accept your biological limits, don't try to defend virtue, and then just, I don't know, take as much of a spiritual path as you can, whatever's physically accessible to you?
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, like with like I was saying on MGTOW stream, it was like, our absolute knowledge stream, it was like, at some point you have to look at these older philosophies that we like extract knowledge from,
yeah,
and try to sift through it and actually get to the core point. And if you can refute that, then you don't need the religion. So it's like, I kind of relate it the same way to how YouTube is. Like, if you can't physically sift through YouTube to find the stuff about the manosphere, then you should probably not engage with it one way or the other, because you would then just become a troll at that point, because you would be going off of like 10% of the information, and you'd be piecing it together bit by bit.
I think there's a bit more nuance there, though. Like, someone might genuinely be curious and they just don't have the words. Other people might have the experience with the community, but then they're disillusioned. It like works either end of the scale. Someone might be like a manosphere veteran. They're disillusioned with certain individuals in the community, and then they go back to like counter troll to use that as their catharsis ritual. And then on the flip side, you might get new people that just don't know. They're not taken as well. So they just troll because they're like, whatever, these guys are not nice to me. Why should I be nice to them?
They're beta.
Beta.
Beta. Oh, that sounded really good. That was very American. Beta. Oh, Simpus Maximus. I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Simpus Maximus. Simpus Maximus.
And I was saying it too. I mean, you can't be white knighting and simping and being like that. That's not abuse.
Here's another thing too. People
and men who have standards are abusive. Yeah, there you go.
People who do use the word white knight, they tend to overuse it, actually. Because, like, to me, white knighting is when you're defending a woman because you have sexual interest in her. That's the underlying motive. Whereas people, when you say, oh, you're white knight for this person, you're white knight for that person, usually they're just people defending a view, defending like another YouTube channel, or even a friend. So
Amanley.
I would say, like, as much as I understand the purpose of, say, like, simp shaming, white knight shaming, I get it. The idea is you're meant to toughen up the other person, like a MGTOW, some kind of fraternity. I get that.
Well, like I said, if your culture doesn't do that, then you're not. Then you're busting your head against the wall.
Well, the danger of it is that like someone from another culture is going to use that in that way. Like say, I won't use that the northern hemisphere as an example, but let's say you meet like a Slavic MGTOW. A Slavic MGTOW will use those words and those ideas in a Slavic way of thinking, which may not be the exact same as say if they're doing that to say like a Western MGTOW, like an American MGTOW or an Australian MGTOW. Sometimes the translation
I do get tired of it. I do get tired of the East and West dichotomy. Yeah. I very much like the North-South dichotomy better. It's more refreshing, and it's more like
realistic.
I feel like
it's more
realistic.
Yeah. It's more realistic.
For sure. So am I.
Someone joined the show. I don't know who this is.
Amanley, welcome to the stream.
It's Amanley, but I'm eating. Hello, Jaguar. Probably know me on
YouTube.
How
you doing?
Yeah.
I'm alright, thanks. How are you, bud?
Don't worry, he doesn't need anything to eat. He does not need anything to eat.
I'm eating my grapes, my little tiny grapes.
Great.
Nice. Cotton
That's
candy grapes. They're GMO. Yeah, cotton candy grapes are GMO, but they're delicious. They're delicious.
Dude, grapes are the food of the kings. Like the kings back in the day, like literally used to have bowls of grapes and just sit on their throne and eat grapes all day and discuss like the affairs of the kingdom. That's like total king behavior, right there.
King shit.
That's king shit.
What do we do? What do we do? What do we do, Jaguar? The people are starving. You're just like eating your grapes, and you're like,
yeah, no. The thoughts are starving.
To the
thoughts are starving. The MGTOWs are the ones eating the grapes on their chair. They're like, whatever. Like fucking kings.
Like I am a simp.
I've got long hair as well. A statue of a king, because kings they was the only ones that could like look after the hair because of the wealth. It was a sign of wealth.
Well, it's time.
Apparently too, long hair. So here's the other thing I don't get about like masculinity and how it's kind of changed throughout the eons. Long hair, at least in like Native American Indian culture, used to be like they recognized it as being like an extension of the nervous system. So they actually used to grow their hair to show like their maturity, like the coming of age, even for the men. So like what happened to the idea of like people cutting their hair? To me, that strikes me as a very Christian idea.
Well, it's all part of, it's why they cut you out in the military. It's all part of breaking your self-identity down. You know, molding you into what they want you to be, like an order following slave, basically. It's all part of that. Breaking,
that's true. That's true too, because you like a person can't mold himself to be a part of society without anybody else. Like he's not capable of being indoctrinated.
It's still some form of a dependent relationship, even if it's not codependency.
Yeah,
it's still a form of dependency.
Mm. Yeah,
and then not to mention all the toxic, horrible, nasty products people put on their hair, which is like literally sitting on top of their brain, so they're absorbing all that toxicity right into their brain. So it's best to just have long hair and just wash it and keep it clean. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just a part of nature. Long hair, part of nature. I mean, our ancestors used to have it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
why should it be condemned now?
Well, the original reason I've got long hair is because I was poor for a long time. I didn't want to pay every 2-3 weeks like £10 to have my hair cut. So I just grew my hair.
Oh, right.
And then it just, become part of my identity. And then I realised the added benefit of women ignoring me. I was like, well, win-win.
Yeah.
Because I look like a homeless hobo. So I look like I'm low status. So, yep, I'll accept that. Makes my life easier. I'm less approachable. So...
Don't worry, in real life, I'm very unapproachable. I'm like a fucking Spider-Man. I'm thinking of like actually getting one of those, that pagan entity Arachne. I'm like legit thinking about getting like an arachne pendant and then just pretending I'm like some kind of heathenist spider worshipping pagan that just live the life of a spider, like live at home. My hunt is basically my job. I go out, do my job, and then I come like just back in my home. It's the life of a Spider-Man.
I bet you have fun. I bet you have fun at Halloween. Doing all your
Man,
house up with the webs.
I could frighten a few people or two. You could. Just dress up as like an ex-wife or something, frighten the fuck out of her. Like, who are you? I'm like, I'm your ex-wife. I'm your greatest nightmare.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of Karens on for Halloween.
Oh
like I'm
my
going to dress up
God,
as Karen.
You don't treat me properly.
There will be
Where's my dress?
Karen, for sure.
It's going to be a Halloween. It's going to be a Halloween to rival any Halloween. Like there's going to be people dressing up as Karens. There's going to be people dressing up as the virus. Like they're going to be putting on like
you reckon people will
shit.
take that far?
Yeah, I mean, especially people who are discontent. I mean, people who are upset. You
Yeah.
got people conservative and left who just hate this, who are just done with this. I mean, they want common sense and decency restored, and they don't want people to be, carted around like I said, these half-truther simps out here, like these comedians and musicians and stuff who talk a good game, but the society at large is trying to wait till they fuck up so that they can cart them around and say,
Yeah.
hey, these people fit with my narrative, like Terry Crews. They're like, oh, look, Terry Crews has a porn addiction, or they try to, or Kevin Hart said something sexist, and at the VMAs
That just sounds like basic boogeymaning though, for PR, like PR boogeyman stuff.
Yeah, they're like, fear the men who can't be as sorry and as regretful as these men. It's like, wait, that again, that's going off of you counting on people feeling guilty for their life decisions.
I'm just saying, we don't ignore the chat. I'm reading the chat right now. Carry on, mate.
The other thing I would add though, speaking of that point of boogeymaning, is that when, I guess with infighting, when like MGTOWs fight other MGTOWs, red pillars fight other red pillars fight other red pillars, whatnot, etc., etc. The danger, my only criticism, and this is out of all honesty, my only criticism of the MGTOW philosophy is that its logical conclusion would be anarchism. Here's what I mean. I don't mean political anarchism in terms of abolishing governments. That's not what I mean. When I talk about anarchism, it's like when you go your own way and you have, say, like 6 million or X amount of men going their own way on their own terms, then that means you're kind of reverting back towards your own tribalism in 6 million or X amount of million different ways, meaning that there's no cohesion at that point. The way in which you go your own way, the way in which you define it. And most of the problems come from how men try to, in the manosphere, come from how men try to show who is more MGTOW than someone else. And I mean, I get that some people have been around for longer, like fair enough, that cred's on you, that experience is on you, but that I'm more MGTOW than you kind of mentality is dangerous in some regards.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw it at the beginning.
And it's the biggest
we saw it at the turn of the new year. Yeah, the turn of the new year, it began to be about validation again. And I don't know if as a human beings we can escape that within our generation, because we've all been kind of trained to have that. That's why I'm very I admire the lesser known channels and the more self-aware channels. Yeah. Because they're not in it for the views. They're not in it to actually make an impact whatsoever.
And they're not as political about their channel as, say, like a bigger channel that has more to lose.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, it gets you, okay, so then we get into the idea of circumstantial luck. And for me, it's like sometimes when I'm sitting in streams of other people, I think to myself, like, well, is it really a good thing that I found all this information so early? Because to the way that other people react, they kind of hold that against me. Like, oh, I haven't had experiences the same way that other people have. And so it's like, to me, I'm like almost thinking in my head, like, am I just like, am I too cool to kick it, or is it how I view myself? And
I
so
think
I feel like I'm lucky.
I think
yeah,
that's
but
a
I was just
philosophical form of anarchism, dude. I think that's a philosophical form of anarchism. You don't define yourself by a label or a construct. You define yourself as a separate entity outside of politics, government, society, the label, what the label
Well,
is.
I try to give people a benefit of the doubt. Like even though they don't outright say they don't represent a political party or don't represent a religion, but they still hold this title. It's like sometimes I have to be more. I have to take some of that self-awareness, and I have to like try to apply that to people and try to analyze. Well, why exactly do they believe the things that they do? And it's only through a process of like interacting with them can I actually figure that out. I can't just label everybody a certain way, even though, you know, and I try to be as self-aware as I possibly can, because I know that there's that danger out there of becoming another one of these like
rages. What are those
parroters?
rages?
Yeah, parroters of indoctrination. You know.
Yeah,
because that's the only way that a lot of
dogma on any side is
not good.
The death of the soul. By the Greek definition, soul, psyche, mind.
Yeah.
There's a fine line of promoting the philosophy and turning it into a cult.
Yeah, and some people treat it as a cult of personality.
Yeah.
Which is dangerous. That to me is dangerous ground.
Well, yeah.
And I guess in a way, like the irony of human nature is that we want that individualism on one hand, and I think that we are more aware of that individualism because of social media. Yet on the other hand, we still have the same baseline. This is where the black pill comes in. We have these baseline evolutionary instincts of we can remember 700 people well. That's a biological instinct. We're hardwired to do that. We're hardwired to have that confirmation bias in our experiences because this is how the human race learns as a species. And then at that level, it's like, then how far do you keep going on towards your MGTOW journey? It's like, yeah.
How deep down the rabbit hole do you want to travel?
Exactly.
And stay sane at the same time.
And not just the rabbit hole of the system, but even like the rabbit hole of human nature, male and female. Not just female, but like male and
human nature, basically. Like, who are we? What do we do? Why are we here? How are we here? Kind of thing.
People sit back and analyze, like they go so deep. Like, well, how exactly can the yoga pants convince somebody? Like how exactly scientifically does that, attract another person? It's like we go so deep into it. The deeper we go into one topic, the more it becomes black pill, because you get tired of addressing the same exact, trying to bring nuance to like the same exact dynamic that you see over and over and over again. And the only people who are going to stick around are people who view it as, I need to be here in order to like basically be a part of this. Like I need to extract the individualism. I need to extract my individualism from this channel.
Well, it's sort of the same aspect of where you got all these MGTOWs and these red pillars. I've got nothing wrong with it; they can do what they want, but they upload all these eye-catching pictures of women and females instead of diving deeper into the human psyche and to evolve and where we're taking this. Like they try and keep us on this base level of attraction.
I mean, there's only a certain amount.
as part of
if
the
you want to
trial.
sell an idea. Yeah,
I think
if you
that's
want to
just
sell an idea, you go to the easiest. You go to the easiest way of doing it because that saves you the most.
sex sells.
Yeah,
Edward Bernays 101, sex sells.
yeah. And where's the fine line? You know, the fine line between that, because you want to gain traction to the knowledge, but at the same time, are you attracting the right type of people? And even if you aren't attracting the right type of people, are those type of people willing to swallow the red pill on some type of psychological level? Does it affect you? Not, you know, there's all these little aspects of introspection, and
Yeah.
it's just weird, you know. That's how I'm thinking right now, you know, because I refuse to go down that route because, you know, I've lived a life of sex cells. You know, I've been born into that culture, so I don't want to carry on that same culture that's made me the way I am. That's my opinion of it, and I see a lot of other MGTOWs do it. And I don't know, it's just my opinion. I don't know, but I think it personally tarnishes their message by attracting people with these sexual images instead of an image of meaning.
It's almost like using the subliminal messaging of like what the movie industry does.
Yeah.
With the same
I mean,
reptilian.
we'll have to. I feel like in order to approach this, we have to like back up before sociology and actually address subliminal messaging as it is before all these terms were used to describe it. And it's ritualism. It's like because like you have what these elites are trying to do is trying to normalize the use of children to project a larger quantity of, you know, of gains, interest, impressions,
so that
they can sell.
And to add to that, in 2019, we saw the EU and other governments try to ban memes under publishing laws, but that failed because memes are parody. And then the courts ruled out that memes were a form of parody because memes.
They're not original.
Memes are sigils. Memes are sigil magic. Memes are deflective symbols and criticisms of the system in plain sight.
Yeah.
That's why people had the clampdown on Keck. Like, I think it was last year or the year before, there was the hatred of the Keck and Pepe the Frog, which actually Keck, I found out recently, was like a literal Egyptian god.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it was the literal Egyptian god, and I found that hilarious. So they actually established their own flag and their own country and their own nationality. I thought that was brilliant. And they used the thing to ban is that they promoted Trump and the election of Trump, which in reality, in a large part, you know, the 4chan and Reddit movement of Keck was a big influence of people swaying it to Trump. But you know, that's not taking into account how dislikable Hillary was, but they did have a big influence on the election. And that is true, and I used that against it.
Well, Trump is more dislikable. Trump is more dislikable than Hillary. That's why he won.
I think too that part of that in that specific example, people subconsciously wanted something different. They got sick of Obama. Yeah. They got sick of Bush because Bush's foreign policy. Yeah. How different was Bush's foreign policy from Obama's foreign policy, for example? People just wanted something different, and then they it's like they subconsciously wished it. As crazy as it sounds, it's like they subconsciously wished it into office, and it was there.
Yeah.
So the intent of the people matters. That charge matters, which I think is why Hollywood tries so hard to control our consciousness. Same as the gynocracy.
It was also a vote of rebellion because, like, you had the silent. You had the loud minority going Hillary this, Hillary that, all this, and then everybody was sitting back with a silent majority of saying, well, we're not voting for that tyrant, and, you know, or supporting all these loudmouth little imbeciles. So we're going to vote for Trump in protest. You know, a lot of it was a protest vote.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
On top of that,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can't protest with a vote.
yes, America's devil. That's right. We do know politics makes no difference, and that's why people voted Trump in, because they don't know any other difference of rebellion. That they all they know is how to vote. They don't know how to be independent. They don't know how to withdraw. As Baron said in the other stream, they don't know how to stop voting with their dollars, because that's the real vote. Is how does people spend their money.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then the elites go for, like I said, they go for quantity over quality.
Yeah.
And they're, because that's the strategy, is a hope strategy. They're like, if we can get as many people in on this, then it's not going to matter what the outcome is, because I'm going to have everything handed to me in my lifetime. So I won't have to work for anything. So that's how a human being ought to live their life, and it's just bogus.
Yep.
But how can you contend with it? I mean, like, it's like an abusive parent. You either give in to their wishes, or you move out of the house and you start your life.
You don't contend with it, though. That's why I like the teachings of Thomas Sheridan. Like he says, ghost the system. I think it was Thomas Sheridan who came up with that analogy. Like the abusive parent, the abusive spouse. The system is the abusive spouse or the abusive parents.
Mm-hmm.
You ghost them. You don't fight them. You don't confront them. They have all the cards. You just ghost them. And the irony is that, like, the system has less imagination than the free thinkers, which is us, the Poet Society.
You're too right, because what the system does is they
the Menace.
That's why
the Menace. Oh, dude, shit.
That's why they set up all the colleges and universities, so they get us, the little lackeys, to do all this work in uni. And as you know, when you do your work in uni, it's not yours; it's the universities.
They reward us to enslave ourselves. They reward us to enslave ourselves, regardless of what system it is, because it's all usury based.
Yeah, but I'm trying to build up on the idea that they don't bring up their own ideas. They make us come up with all these ideas, and they take it from us and use it against us from all the colleges and universities.
That's why.
Oh, yeah. There's a good example of that that I saw in a movie recently. You guys know The Purge?
I'm aware of it, yeah.
The most recent one, the 2018 Purge, the movie.
Is that the female-led one?
The one that's set in, like, the black community?
I don't.
Oh, shit. No, I haven't. Wow. I can't say I watched it.
All right. Basically, the lady who comes up with the research, who did, like, the sociology research for the Purge, she actually ends up getting killed in this movie. She ends up getting killed by the political officer in charge because people weren't purging enough. And the irony of that is that her research was used to justify the policy, the depopulation policy of this fictitious government entity in the movie. And then he ended up taking her research, and then he was the one who sent agents off to kill her. And then she actually gets killed in the middle of the film. So even good research with noble intentions can be used with, like, really bad ways, even between universities and, like, governments or special agents and whatnot.
Well, in real life, you can even use the work of Nikola Tesla. Look how all his knowledge and all his technology has been used against.
For sure. Oh yeah, the stuff with Tesla follows.
He's the perfect example. And he's even removed from modern education. That them using all his technology to teach us, yet they don't even mention him.
Yeah, they always stay right in the middle. Like, they never go too far into falsehood.
Yeah, he's a footnote.
Like,
he's like
analyzing the falsehoods of other philosophers. Like, they never, like, in philosophy seminar, they never go into Jacques Derrida, they never go into Foucault, they never go into Jean-Paul Sartre, albeit they only go through Jean-Paul Sartre in reference to Simone de Beauvoir and how much of a strong independent queen she was. It's like they never address the failures, and then they never go deep into
also
people like Nikola
too.
Tesla.
Also too, speaking of like founding writers like that, Alfred Kinsey apparently was the teacher of Sigmund Freud.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently they.
Well, you know, the most eye-opening part of that docuseries was the last 5 minutes, where they asked the emeritus, or like that professor that was that's connected to those archives, about the woman that was interviewed just one, you know, talking head segment prior, where and we should talk about this, because I actually, being red pill, I'm like, she's lying, me too, you know, I have all these thoughts swirling around my head about, you know, female nature and why she would be coming out after all this time to be talking about her abuse, like, and it's ritual abuse, so it's stuff that, you know, when you observe people in the population that actually have done this, or has actually gone through this, celebrities, musicians, they're all pretty much pretty straightforward about it in their works of art, but they don't really go out and talk about it like everybody else, like people expect them to.
Like Marina Abramovich.
Yeah, and so it's just one thing I'm curious. One thing I don't understand is this dude's this professor's disposition towards like his archives, or like the data or the confidential information. And I respect him for saying that at some point we can't sacrifice our morals or our confidentiality that we gave to get this information. But it's from these vital people. So it's like they just want to gather. They want more time to gather more and more data, it seems.
Yeah, it's all metadata. Governments are metadata.
Yeah,
metadata, and it's not actually like, it's not actually bringing out any tangible solutions to the population, because they just want more time to be able to get more information on you, so that they can use it against you. But they will never actually they will never actually charge at you and get what you want, because they're betting on you playing into the system anyway.
But on that quick note, thanks to Neo the Outlander, I got this. If you use Microsoft, I advise you download the program called Peer Blocker, and that will block a lot of IP trying to track you and get all your information. Because I've downloaded it, and I found out the government was spying on me.
Wow.
So yeah, download Peer Blocker. Just put it in any search engine, especially if you're using Microsoft. Because if you don't know, Microsoft works with the government, so Bill Gates and all.
Oh, I'm not surprised by that.
I know we're probably being peeped on right now. Say hi, everyone. You know.
Yeah.
Like when you're at your job, and like
suck on bananas.
Exactly. Get these yams, boy.
Yeah.
Come lick on these skinned yams.
Yeah.
I'm just out of curiosity, on a funnier note, how many government employees do you think like have retired or thrown in their resignation after hearing in Minecraft jokes?
In Minecraft jokes?
Yeah. How many government employees do you think have actually resigned?
Zero.
Like, oh my God, I can't handle these in Minecraft jokes. Like, I'm going to start a riot in Minecraft. I'm going to start a rebellion in Minecraft. I'm going to fight and dox the left in Minecraft.
Oh no, oh my God.
If those jokes get coming out in the manosphere, like how many like civil servants would just refuse to be civil servants? That's a funny thought.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. But no, it's just like all the scrubbing and all the cleaning. It's like, why would you want to clean? Why would you need to clean something that you weren't worried about? It's just so much fear. It's just like it's a campaign of fear. And like for example, why would you why would you be trying to apologize for something so much that you're covering up the fact that everybody engaged in it, or I don't know. It's just I just like I can't. Sometimes I just like throw my hands up at it. It's like I don't care if you're surveilling me. Like it really doesn't matter. I don't really care about privacy or any of that kind of stuff. When it comes to the government, when it comes to normal people, I pretty much am just like, I really don't want you in my business. It's none of your business.
Yeah.
But the government, they have so much on their plate that the fact that they're spying on people makes me think that hypernormalization is a real thing and that no one really knows what the hell they're doing. Because why would you spy on somebody that you didn't feel like had no idea what was going on?
It's still a big issue because, like, say for example, as soon as you get the spotlight put on you, they'll just click on your file on the server and they'll have all this data about you they can use against you. You know what? Mm-hmm. It's all right saying that you don't mind the government spying on you until the spotlight's on you, and then you realize, oh shit, they've got all this data on me to use against me.
Mm-hmm.
So at the same time, you got to look at the other side of the coin. They're still collecting data that they can turn on you whenever they want.
Oh yeah, they can like frame you and shit.
Yeah.
Or use like your family against you, like that. That's scarier, I think.
Yeah.
When it's like loved ones against you, that's frightening.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like as long as if it doesn't help me to know about it, then I'm from that school of thought where I don't consider every piece of information like vital, because as long as it's something that I know that I don't know, I'm fine with not knowing it. But if I don't know that I don't know it, I'm expecting at some point to learn it. And definitely government oversight and stuff is something that as a young person we totally are at the mercy of, but we don't really understand because we haven't witnessed anything bad. Because it seems like everybody who is a truther or a whistleblower or exposer or something, they always have some sort of like connection or something that's allowing them to exist. So it's like it's weird.
Yeah. At the same time, they've had nothing go wrong in their life. Everything's worked. They've signed on, they've found work or whatnot. They've had no problems getting to college, getting into college, and things have worked out perfectly. And it's like people in Britain, people support the police until they've learned when they're about to deal with them, and they find out how tyrannical and how unethical the police are. Until something bad happens, they don't think anything's wrong.
Yeah, I play that line. I play a very close line with that because I'm not going to say defund the police. That sounds absolutely ridiculous.
I agree with that.
But I mean, it's only a matter of time before they start doing that stuff to me, and then I don't want to look like even more of an idiot by not trusting them. And I still don't even trust them as far as I can throw them. Like, to be honest, any individual police officer that would develop a rapport with me, it would be, I'm trying to get myself out of that situation as fast as possible for that person's sake. It's like for the well-being of people. It's like it's best that we just ignore one another. Which is why I always fawn over the movie Minority Report, because they literally like precogs and like pre-recognition crime and stuff like that. Like I secretly like fantasize about a society where all of the criminals are just caught immediate, like as soon as you realize that somebody's gonna do something, like they're just arrested. Which is terrible. It's really bad because it's like the belief that people can't actually change. So it's something that I feel like is like delusional, but it's like nonetheless.
And the irony of that, the irony of that, most crime is caused because of the broken system. That's the irony. So you're using the same system.
In Minority Report, they have Minority Report. I don't know if there's like any legit advertisements that you see in Minority Report, but you have to question how the society in that world developed a precog crime unit, but they never actually solved the problem of crime. So they develop a technology around the heart of the problem, but they never address the underlying issue.
Well, they won't use it properly, because you haven't heard in Britain. I think it was last year, maybe the year before that, or maybe even 3 years ago. I don't know. But there was an incident where I think the Queen was going to make a public speech or do something or travel down the road, and the police actually arrested someone and put him in jail for 3 days because they thought he was planning to do something to the Queen because of his Facebook rants and posts and his conspiracy work. So they're already doing it, and imagine all the other people they're arresting that's not in the media to prevent so-called riots or.
That's a huge irony too, because conspiracy basically, I feel like conspiracy places you in a category with people who actually want to know something, and it's not isolating yourself, but the way that society paints it is as if you're isolating yourself.
Yeah, but no, because they ostracize them because they don't want to face the truth, do they? And it's only you know how it's slowly coming out that most of politicians and Hollywood stars are paedophiles now. Look how long it's took for that to come out. And conspiracy theorists have been talking about that since the 70s and 60s and before that. So
it looks like it might be stamped out. Like it might, I still, whatever.
Well,
I still like. For some reason, I doubt it because of all the stuff that's happened with cancel culture. That if you're not telling the truth in a sugar-coated way, then you're pretty much you'll be pretty much downvoted into oblivion by that social credit system.
Yep. Well, you look at what Netflix are doing with cuties. Like they're trying to normalize that, slowly boiling a frog. They're trying to normalize child porn and child sexuality, and it's massively backfiring. But this is the breadcrumbs all the way to the big loaf of bread they want everybody to take a bite out of. Them seeing the reaction of the public, and obviously it's a complete mass outrage. And then you've got all these SJWs and all these feminists, like the loud minority supporting all this paedophilia, because that's basically what it is. It's paedophilia. And so, like, this is the start of their end goal. It's going to, over the period of 5, 10, 15, 20 years, or how long it will take, people are going to get used to the idea of these films being put out there and these ideas put out there, and they're going to normalize paedophilia. That's the plan.
And I mean, because I've been thinking, about kind of like writing. I've been thinking about writing like a book, and it would be like a horror thriller book. But like, think about it on this day. Like, what would a society be like where that happens? Like,
it's going to turn into Greece, isn't it? How Greece was. Greece fell apart because.
Well, where are the men? Where are all the men? Where were all the men?
The men was abusing in Greece. The men was abusing kids and getting involved with it. Meddling with all these underage women and kids or girls, and because that happened, they got took over, didn't they? They got destroyed. They destroyed themselves, especially with Alexander killing off a large population of strong warrior men. That's what's happening right now. They took the man out of the household.
Yeah,
that's exactly what's happening.
They haven't destroyed them. I mean, they haven't outright destroyed them, but they do destroy some of them. But those are the weaker ones. In my opinion, they destroy the weaker ones, and the ones that are like somewhat, you could say, more serious. They turn them into entrepreneurs. They turn them into success. Into
bulldog sims, bullshit sim sets.
Exactly, they turn those people out into, I guess, like producers, then to just be an umbrella over anybody else who will fall in line. Like anybody who capitulates, they just say, all right, throw them under this umbrella. They're curious about the information, but they're not willing to actually fix them. They're smart enough to fix the machine, but they're not smart enough to turn it off. and to completely go against it. So let's
I'd
use them as much as we can.
like to elaborate on that. Not fix the machine, because they don't fix anything. Because all them doing is supporting the over sexualization of the society in a nutshell. So they're there.
True.
They're there
Yeah.
to put this kind of freedom spice on top of actually conforming.
I like that you said that, freedom spice. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
much what it is. It is.
Yeah, these special spices, because everybody we've
It's like, well,
you know,
we're happy. We're happy in the system. Why aren't you happy? And
yeah.
you know, it's like, who hurt you?
But make, become one of us, but you earn loads of money and do this. And well, I don't realise, like, because of the way the system is, if we're all like these PUAs, red pillars, if we're all like that, having a good life, pulling all these women, as we said, we mentioned in the other stream, when you earn money, you're taking it off of people. So when you're getting, when you're getting collecting all this money, you're making other people poor. So they're not really.
Like ETOC, they think that they're just putting in their hours and they're going to retire and it's an honest living. But they're taking money from people who are completely clueless.
Yeah, and need that money for themselves.
Exactly. You shouldn't be hustling people just because and it's something that I think is a tool of certain like minded individual people who are looking for just only material gain, like looking for as much money as possible.
For example, one of my old PUA mates, I still sort of respect him because I sort of know, I've known him for a long time, but I think he's massively lost his way. But he monetized teaching people about meditation, and we fell out. We fell out because I was like, man, that's wrong. That's flat out wrong. And I said it all on his Facebook when I was still on it. I went onto his page and went, mate, that's wrong, monetizing meditation. That is out of order. And we've never really been right since, because I confronted him.
That's a business issue.
Yeah.
I hopped in the tail end of it, so I'm not going to say much.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that you need money to live, but you don't monetize stuff like meditation.
Why that particular service, though? Why not something else? Why not like a financial service or technical service? Maybe like an educational service. It's pretty standard.
Yeah.
But meditation service.
Well, like I said, it's their prefer. I said that on the other stream. They are perverting Eastern, not ideology. They're perverting Eastern philosophy.
They're monetizing New Age.
It's like these like women's lib people that shave their head and say they're Buddhist now. When it's like, you can't just be a Buddhist. You can't just choose to be a Buddhist. You can choose to be like you can choose to be Christian. Like you just I let the soul of Jesus, or the spirit of Jesus Christ, into my heart, my Lord and Savior, and now I'm saved. It's like Buddha can't save you. Buddha doesn't save people.
Yeah.
He's like a black pillar. He's like, fuck the whole world, guys. Like, you guys, no lives matter. Like, that's what Buddha would say. That's what Buddha would say if he was.
Was Buddha like that black pilled?
Huh?
Was Buddha like that black pilled?
Well, him personally, like,
yeah.
I think I'd wager to guess he was pretty. Well, he was oil, or he was like a, wasn't he royalty? Or that was a person, that was one of the Buddhas. One of the Buddhas was like a prince. And he went out and saw, because he went out and saw like a poor person, and then saw that he was downtrodden, and he's like, how can I like pay for this, or how can I help this person? How can I? And he chooses like a life of asceticism, rather than like embodying his role as a king, or like as royalty. And it's like a lot of people take this Eastern stuff and then they apply it to the Western world, when that's not how his teaching should have been taken.
That's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. His teachings are more, I guess, Taoist in some ways. Taoist.
Yeah. Well,
Your way.
Buddhism's a stem from Jainism, isn't it? Because
Yes, from what I've
Jainism was
heard.
the original. Jainism was the original form of that kind of no harm unto anybody and stuff like that. And that's one of the most. What people don't realize that it all come from India, not China.
Correct.
Yeah, no, not China. So then,
Yeah.
it's like Confucianism and Buddhism is like again, looking at Jainism and Indian through a lens too. So then now you gotta look at Christianity as being, twice if you're not aware of the red or the Indian part of that red pill religious rabbit hole. You gotta kind of look at it like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna like the body of Christ, all right, being like used to absolve people. That's kind of like Buddhism a little, where it's like it takes some things from Buddhism, and then Buddhism takes it from Jainism, and in Jainism you have, I'm not sure where the history lines up, but you have actual Indian conquerors, like you have Indian empire builders,
But Jainism didn't want to be part of any government. There was sort of just their own culture, and they made a living by being trading merchants. So I don't know any deeper history. I've only briefed over that because if you don't know, I eat plants, and it's a really good argument against these meat eaters that are against plant eating. When I'm just saying, look, life's your own choice, do what you want, but your body's your temple. Just believe that. And then you get all these arguments, and that all their arguments pretty much you fall flat on the face when you mention Jainism because no one knows about it.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You need meat. You need meat to survive. I mean, well, what about the Jainish culture, which is thousands and thousands of years old? None of them eat meat. Some of them even die through starvation because they want to end their life on this spiritual high of not causing any harm to even plants or insects or anything. So that they die through fasting at the end of their life.
Legit. That's pretty legit. They're white knighting. They are white knighting for the earth, though. like they don't like the earth can protect itself. The earth can protect itself. It doesn't need human intervention.
Yeah, but it's more of a spiritual enlightenment, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. No, you're right, but I mean, still, it's you can't you can always submit that point.
Yeah.
The world is strong and independent, and I think a lot of people earth shame when they really should just be more about ecosystem positivity and not give the world criticism on how it's behaving, and should really just let the earth live its truth. If the earth is going to go down in an ecological collapse, then it's going to have to do that in order to learn.
It doesn't ecologically collapse, though. It just goes through cycles.
Yeah, and the earth has been proven scientifically to go through cycles depending on the mass consciousness of humans. So, for example, if the whole planet is under what's happening now, the whole planet is under fear. It is actually well documented that there's more storms, there's more hurricanes, there's more earthquakes, because the Earth responds to the entire energetic field of the species that's living on it. This has been proven by the GOES satellites. There's these two satellites that measure the energetic field of the planet, and 9/11 put the nail in the coffin of the fact of that. The Earth responds to how we as a species think and feel. So you could call that the spiritual level of things, the magnetic fields.
And I do have papers, that's a CIA study that actually shows that there are connections between frequencies of the Earth, which is 432 hertz by memory. Frequency of the human mind, like we do emit our own electromagnetic frequency at 432 hertz as well. So we're like literally synchronized into the frequency of the Earth through the pineal gland. And also the structure of our brains matches the structure of the torus of the universe, which is
Yes.
another crazy conclusion that I've seen. And in this study by the CIA, I'm pretty sure it was done by, they concluded that when space-time boundaries are exceeded, humans need to be prepared to meet non-corporal entities, non-physical corporal entities.
But that's what the D-Wave computer was all about, wasn't it?
I would
enter
say that there's an element of that. Yes.
To enter those realms of non-physical reality. And the maker of the D-Wave computer even said it gets its knowledge, information from entities outside of this realm. That was his own words.
And that's not the only study or the only person who's spoken out about that either. I'm pretty sure that there were studies done by other universities between like the magic mushrooms that you take at a college party.
Psilocybin.
DMT.
People who say that they've seen like other entities, like those gnomes and those arachnid entities.
That's the thing. Like we're on this.
They're all connected.
This, like spiritual path, right? So we become aware of certain things. And when I was in school, I had this girl who had she came into my house one time, and this is like a college house, so a lot of people have been in and out, and I've heard stories about what people did in the house in the past, and it kind of has its own little lore, its own little like mythology, history, and stuff to go along with it. But I mean, these women, like I can't trust them, like with the whole Kinsey thing, because one time, I brought this girl into the house, and apparently she had like this like either a spiritual or like a demonic experience or something in the house, because she had like collapsed onto the ground and she was like staring into the living room, and I don't know if she was having PTSD from like a previous like experience or anything. This is not some girl that I was like dealing with or anything, but like to me, like whenever I hear or see or experience somebody witnessing that, I always have apprehension, because I'm always like, how much of what they do is for attention or to gain something out of it.
Well, also getting like physical evidence of it's very difficult. Like it's obtainable, but difficult to get. I had an ex-girlfriend myself who, again, I thought the similar thing. I had an ex-girlfriend who like literally had a photo of a demon in her background, and this was like one of those old cameras from the 90s, because she like was born in 93. In the background of this photo, there was like a demon gnome-like entity, but it had like this weird skeletal kind of face and like a beard. It's really weird. And there was like a dark presence around her. And as crazy as it sounds, before I met her, I had like this dream, this weird vision where this entity or whatever it was told me so many details about her that when I actually met her, everything that vision or that entity told me about that girl was true, including the details of the person who raped her as a kid.
Wow.
And she said, we even did the test. She said, look at this photo, who is the rapist? I pointed to the right person. So like there was a lot more to that relationship than. Anyways, point is.
I mean, just because you're pigtailed doesn't mean you can't have a relationship. I mean, that's.
It's another example of sometimes physical reality is not what it seems, and that maybe the red pill does need to be pushed a bit further into the esoteric, as much as we love to keep it in the physical realm. I don't think the physical realm is the only reality. And the CIA, like I said, there's a paper from the CIA that has the same conclusion.
And I agree 100%. And like, I think about that a lot, because the way that you see like you see that American institutions, like Amanley was saying, we never created our own problems. We've always been punted it down from our parents. Like you want to watch The Graduate, or you want to watch like any movie made in like the like the 60s, 70s, like right around that time, where you have the boomers basically putting all this pressure on people, and like, with sexual liberation and stuff, we have no space, no time to think about anything high-minded, because it's all about fulfilling your parents' duty of reproducing and marrying into a good family. And it's just stuff like that I think prevents us from getting any deeper into our understanding of who we are as human beings. Oh, but yeah, I definitely think it's just a result of like bad parenting, and also, yeah, trying to put your kid in a society at too early a time, and then just leaving them there with no oversight at all whatsoever.
I think it goes further. I think it starts before we're even born, because a lot of influence of our genetic makeup now, we think, actually happens when we're in the womb.
Yeah. And at that point, I think a lot of that social engineering was so pre-planned in advance that they knew about the impacts of things like, atrazine in the crops, which is basically the gender bending chemical compound in crops and stuff.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to hear anything about that, Google Tyrone Hayes.
The whole making the frogs gay meme by Alex Jones, that's actually a fact. Like the whole gay frogs thing, that's a fact. That was studied by the University of Berkeley. That's an actual academic paper you can research.
That's why I mentioned Tyrone Hayes. He was the one that went public against Syngenta. They told him to restrict his knowledge, and he refused, and they pretty much tried ruining his life.
And then also you have the chemical compounds in the birth control pills that apparently they don't break down in the water. Scientists have researched this. They don't break down in the water. They cause like neurological damage to the offspring of the children. And then apparently congenital birth defects are also connected to transgenderism too, from what I've read. And having that in mind, that it could be possible that hormonal imbalance is passed off into the babies before that they're even born from the womb. So yeah, what you're saying is absolutely right. And I'm just coming up with some more examples to back up your point.
Thank you. No, it's right. Completely spot on.
And then when you look into it at that next level, like the epigenetic level, apparently our genes remember up to like 12 or 14 generations worth of memories. And if that's true, then the social engineering is that deep that
is the way that I think about it, I think it's like, yeah, you can remove the people who are in power, but they're not even responsible for what you happen. It's like with the agenda, like people on the left fearing that the people on the right are going to become the Nazis. It's like they have first of all, they have no self-awareness. Second of all, they don't understand how agendas exactly propagate. Third, they're completely unaware of like I said, like you guys were saying, the epigenetic stuff and all the stuff that's been put in place generations and generations before. Everything, and like the elite bloodlines and stuff. But yeah, they really don't think that there's anything that's preventing people from rising up and becoming Nazis. It's like wait, that's not how it works, really. It's more based on your upbringing, and not your upbringing. It's more based on what you consume or what your parents consumed while you were still developing. So there's no way that somebody can help a situation by adding their woke perspective, because people are how they are. They're not gonna change.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And it's even right now. I just have to elaborate to make it more modern. Right now, say if you got these pregnant women with all these face masks on, intoxicating all their blood with all these babies growing inside them and with all these forced vaccines, what do you think that's going to do to the future
Oh yeah,
generations?
for sure, for sure. I was really sad. Like I saw a woman today who had a baby carrier, and the baby was just knocked out. I mean, it was a cute baby, but it's like it was just knocked out. And then she had on a mask, and it's just like it's sad to look at American families that are, especially the ones in the women's lib countries, because it's like I don't know, man. They project this attitude of like the glowing, pregnant, barefoot in the kitchen woman, but it's like at the same time they're not doing anything to actually stop society from seeping in and conducting that child's life for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You go search up Tyrone Hayes. Well, okay. Well, y'all wanna end it, because I kind of got to get going here. I got to be up early.
No, I got you.
Y'all do your outros. Greatest simp. If you want to do your outro.
I can't caught me off guard. Just invest in yourselves, monks and spunks. Invest in yourselves and don't let the system define you. You're more than the sum of experiences that the system tells you to be.
Go to his TV, go to his page, Jaguar Media.
That's my main channel. This is my backup one.
Yeah, I follow you on MGTOW TV. So.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
I've been watching all you. No, appreciate. I appreciate that you appreciate it, but you put out good content, so I watch it. Simple as.
Thanks, man. I much appreciate the support. Thanks so much.
No worries, man. Especially, I think on MGTOW TV there needs to be more of an effort for supporting each other, because it's such a small channel.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amanley, you wanna? Yeah,
Amanley. Yeah, well, I don't know, just be yourself. Have a happy No Simp September. Check out MGTOW.tv. Check out Jaguar Media. Check Baron. You should get on it. And
yeah. It's like you guys are like.
Yeah. And check my page out. See what you think. Dislike it, like it, do whatever you want. Spit at me, like me. I don't mind. Yeah. That's it really. Be yourself. You guys, meditate, introspect.
Nice.
But don't charge. Nice. Don't charge for it. Don't charge for it.
Yeah, don't charge.
Yeah.
No charge.
No charge. It's all for free.
But yeah, you guys take care. Everybody in the chat. Salute to MGTOW, Elder Monks in the chat, Hidden MGTOWs in the chat. I didn't want to address Hidden. I wanted him to remain hidden, but I guess he feels a little something. Feels a little way that I didn't mention him. But America Seville and Shinobi 1, if he was still here. But that's gonna be it. Yeah, you guys stay MGTOW. Be a good example, if not for anybody else, but for yourself, and hold yourself accountable. And then if you're grinding on those lower levels, just always keep the core tenets at heart, and you should be just fine. We'll all make it. We'll all make it out of whatever experience we're currently stuck in. As long as you reflect on yourself and you try to make it better, it will get better. And that's pretty much gonna be it for this stream. As a carryover stream from Absolute Knowledge. But yeah, I'm about to close it out. So yeah, take care, you guys. Peace, and have a good day.
Thank you for hosting, Baron.
Thank you for hosting, Baron.
Gladly, anytime. And you guys are awesome.
Stay skinless.
Yeah. Stay skinless, always. No skin in the game, baby. And we are.